kits in Roblox Bedwars you need to start using. Also, subscribe. Now, for the first kit, we have the Enzo Wizard kit, which honestly is one of the best solos kits right now. If you don't know what the Enzo Wizard does, basically you get a staff and it acts as like a little miniature bow. You can hit people in a splash damage radius, which is super overpowered for getting a nice PvP advantage over your opponents. And if you upgrade the wizard staff with a few emeralds, you get some other cool abilities as well. One of my favorite things about the wizard kit is you can eventually upgrade it and fling people across the map with it. It is very funny. This kit gets a honest 7 out of 10 for being one of the best solos kit, but late game it doesn't really give that many advantages and it can be easily countered. Anyways, for the next kit, we have the Flora kit. Now this kit, very similar to the Enzo kit, is a very good solos kit. If you don't know what this kit does, you get a few different abilities. You could throw a beehive grenade and it kind of just acts as like a miniature TNT sort of thing, and you can deal a ton of damage to your opponents and send them flying. And you yourself can also fly. It is pretty overpowered. You get this cool little gliding ability that you can pair with the scythe to just fly around the map infinitely. It is very overpowered for rushing beds and to get across the map. This kit gets another 7 out of 10 for being a pretty good kit, but definitely not the best kit on this list. And for the next kit on this list, we have the Void Region and the Jade kit. Now, you guys might be wondering why I put these kits on this list. But to be honest, guys, these are still really good kits, and I'll explain why just now. So, with the new 4G update, you can actually pair the Jade Hammer with the Scythe to get an extremely overpowered launching boost. You can use this to run away and to rush enemies, and it's very overpowered for getting across the map really quickly. The one downside to using this kit is that you are affected by the gloops, but since they recently got nerfed, it makes this kit just that little bit more powerful. And as I mentioned earlier, the scythe just makes this kit so much better. This kit gets another 7 out of 10 because you can counter this kit with the gloops, but the good thing about it is that you can use it in absolutely any game mode. And for the next kit, we have the Lilac kit. Now this kit is still one of the best kits on this list, but however, it has got a pretty heavy nerf over the last couple weeks, which is why it isn't higher on this list. This kit used to be extremely overpowered and it still is pretty good, but honestly, with some of the nerfs that it's got recently, it doesn't really make it as good as some of the other kits on this list. But nevertheless, if you really like bowing, basically what this kit does is that you get like a sort of Flora crossbow, a Flora bow, and you can do passive damage to people when you hit them. It's pretty okay. It's not that great anymore, but it's still one of the best kits on this list. And for the next kit that we have the Miner kit. This is one classic kit, and it still is really overpowered for absolutely any game mode. Especially in early game, you can kill people, mine their statues, and get a ton of resources. It's honestly such an underrated kit, and I see like no one using it, and it's still really good. Basically, whenever you kill someone, you get a statue that you can mine, and you can get a ton of resources. It's honestly one of the best kits to getting resources, since all you have to do is just PvP people, and you get even stronger, and you can use those resources to kill even more people. And for the next kit, it was pretty obvious that this kit was going to be on this list, but the Fortuna kit is probably one of the best kits right now. It is honestly so stupidly overpowered that there is absolutely no counter to this kit. You could potentially try and dodge it with the scythe, but they recently nerfed the scythe's cooldown ability, so it honestly just makes this kit so much stronger. I am really surprised that the developers have not nerfed this kit yet. It is one of the best kits in the game, period. It is definitely better than all the other kits that I've talked about so far. So in case you don't know what this kit does, basically you get like a bunch of different cards to choose from, and you can use your ability and just throw those cards at your opponents. And you guys are probably wondering, hang on a second, how can I get these kits for myself if I don't have any Robux? Well, I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. I'm giving my subscribers who are early to my videos a free kit. So if you want to potentially get your hands on a really overpowered kit, make sure you like this video and subscribe and be early to this video and my next video, and I might slide you guys a kit. Anyways, on with the video. And for the next kit that we have on this list, we've got the Zephyr kit, which is a pretty old but very very overpowered kit on this list. The Zephyr is definitely by far one of the best kits on this list. And similar to the Fortuna kit, if you get the Zephyr kit really powerful, then no one's going to be able to beat you. There is almost no counter to the Zephyr kit if you have a maxed out Zephyr. Besides, if you do somehow end up killing them, then they get reset back to 0. Basically, what the Zephyr kit does is every time you get a kill, you get an extra damage bonus and a speed bonus. It is really overpowered. If you get a maxed out Zephyr in your game, you're going to be so overpowered to the point where you could just wipe out the whole lobby without even trying. Now, with this kit and the Fortuna kit, it gets a rating of 9 out of 10 just because of how stupidly overpowered and how many situations you can use those kits in. So if you're looking to be really overpowered really quickly, I would recommend using the Zephyr kit. It is stupidly overpowered. And for the next kit, we have the Hannah kit. Now, this is another classic on this list. The Hannah kit is probably one of the more diverse PvP kits on this list. You can use the Hannah kit in almost any game mode, and it's a really good PvP kit. Once your enemies get one shot, you can use your execute ability from like a really far distance and immediately kill your opponent. If you get really good at PvP, I would recommend trying to use this kit some more because it is really, really good. There have been multiple occasions where I would play with my friends in duos and just 1v2 my opponents because of the Hannah kit. It is very good. Definitely one of the best PvP kits on this list, and there are a lot of other similar kits to it. So if you don't like using the Hannah kit for whatever reason, there are definitely a ton of alternatives that you can use. And this kit is going to get a 9 out of 10 as well because of how versatile it is. You can use this Hannah kit in almost any game mode, and there aren't really that many downsides to it besides having slightly less HP than what you're used to. And for the next kit that we have on this list, we have the Kalia kit. Now, I did say that there are a ton of alternatives to the Hannah kit, and this is one of them. If you still want to get some sort of PvP ability and you don't want to risk having less max HP, the Kalia kit is definitely one of the kits that you should go for. The Kalia kit has a fiery punch ability, and once you deal damage to your opponents, you can activate the ability, and it does some extra damage as well. Now, the really good thing about the Kalia kit is that the damage actually scales with the item that you forge. So if you decide to forge your sword and get an extra damage bonus on your sword, it actually scales with the ability as well, which is why I've put it higher than the Hannah kit. You also don't have to sacrifice any of your max HP as well, which is why I've put it higher than the Hannah kit. Honestly, this kit is the first one to get a 10 out of 10 on this list because, in my opinion, there is absolutely nothing bad about this kit. And for the next kit, we have the Evelyn kit. Now, this is going to be really controversial because I honestly prefer the Evelyn kit over the Hannah kit. Now, if you, for whatever reason, don't know what the Evelyn kit does, basically, you get a little orb once you deal some damage, and you can teleport to it. Now, the reason why I've put it above the Hannah and the Kalia kit is because of how useful the orb teleportation ability is. If you happen to get a bow or a crossbow during one of your games, you can use it to instantly teleport to your enemies, which saves you a ton of time. There have been multiple occasions where I just want to quickly teleport to my enemy's base and don't want to waste a telepole, so bowing my enemies and using the Evelyn's teleport ability has saved me multiple telepoles and so much time. And for the next kit that we have on this list, we have the Ares kit. Now, this kit has only gone through one nerf ever since it got released back in Season 3, and it is one of the best kits in the game if you manage to get a lot of kills using this kit. If you don't know what the Ares kit does, basically, whenever you get a kill, your damage multiplies. It scales over time. It is really overpowered if you get a ton of kills. And if you pair this with lifesteal and the hammer, you are going to be unstoppable. No one is going to be able to kill you because you are just going to be that overpowered. Every time you hit someone, you're going to get all of your health back, and you're just going to deal so much damage.